Hey everyone, happy Wednesday, happy June, happy almost full moon. It's all the things right now. I'm super excited and happy to be here with you guys today. I have a couple of things that I want to talk to you about, but I also plan for this session to be more of a Q&A session. So whatever questions you have regarding, intuitive development or spirit or manifesting, all of those things are always welcome. So please post your comments or post your questions below. I will get to them throughout this session. So I do have some sage going. I just smudged my office. I smudged myself before this session. I don't know why, but I've just been feeling like this. I don't know if it's this live or if it's this call or this day or what it is, but something has just felt kind of heavy. It feels like something big is about to happen. And usually when I feel like something big is about to happen, I prep myself for it as much as I can. So I've got like all the loving crystals here. I've cleansed my space. And so first I want to talk about what is going on outside, what is going on in reality, because we can't ignore it, right? It's a big, giant, it's something that we get to look at, and it's something that we get to explore, and it's something that we get to help heal. So let's talk about it right now. As uncomfortable as it is, it's super uncomfortable for me, but I think that that's where I get to show up. That's how I get to be a light. That's how I get to help people, is to be authentic as I can. And this may sound extremely silly to you guys, but that is why I did not do my hair today. I did my natural hair today because I wanted to show up as raw and authentic as I could. And that's just like one little symbolism for me and a way to do that. So let's talk about it. Black Lives Matter. It's a really big thing. It's a really big issue. And before I go any further, before I put my foot in my mouth in any way, I want to say that I have the best and highest intentions when speaking to this today. It's so much, you guys. And in a way, I think it's so beautiful because they are being heard. People's voices are being heard, and we see you and we stand with you and we love you. And I think everyone that I know, everyone that I've come in contact with wants to help heal, wants to help elevate consciousness, wants your voices to be heard. So there we are with that. And here's the next thing that I want to say. I don't think that we all don't. So, okay, let's just rip the Band-Aid off. I'm a white girl. I have no experience about what it is to be black. I don't know. I've never been black. I have lots of black friends. I have a couple of family members, but I have never been black myself. I went to a predominantly black high school, but I've still never been black. So I can only sympathize and try to understand and try to educate myself. But I can't understand because I've never been in those shoes, right? So that said, I want to learn. I want to learn more. I want to help you. I want to grow. I want to educate. I want to be a light. I want to hold space for you. I want to listen to you. And so yesterday, this has just been weighing heavy on my heart, and I've been kind of scared to speak out or say anything because, again, I've never been there. And what if I say the wrong thing, or what if I do the wrong thing? But all I can do is show up as authentic as I possibly can, put my heart in the best place, and ask questions, and be truthful, and try to learn. So yesterday I reached out to my friend Magley, and she's a really good friend of mine. We've worked on a couple projects together. We've been in like a women's mastermind group together for a couple of years. And I sent her a text. Like, my heart was just breaking for the community and for our country and for the world. Like, all the COVID stuff, just everything has been coming up. I mean, it's a full moon, right? So, everything was just heavy on my heart. So I reached out to her and I said, I want to know how to help. I want to understand. I want to talk to you. I want to get your point of view. when you have the space, when you have the time, let me know. And she texted me back right away and said, let's talk about it. So we did. And, you know, she told me, she's like, Ashley, you could take notes if you want. And for the first time, I didn't want to take notes. I just wanted to close my eyes and I wanted to listen. And I didn't want to listen to respond. I didn't want to listen to give feedback. I just wanted to freaking listen. And I wanted to hear her side. And, you know, we had a very good talk, and this is what came out of it, and this is what I want to share with you guys today. So again, I've never been on that side. I've never walked in her shoes. I've never walked in anybody's shoes that is Black. I personally love everybody the same, and I always have. But not everybody is like that. And I have not had those experiences that, you know, other races have had. So here's what came out of it. It's not our Black friends' jobs to educate us or on what they're going through right now. It is our jobs and our duty to educate ourselves so that we can support them, so that we can speak up, so that we can stand with them and truly, truly empathize with what they're going through and help get things changed from now on and for the better and not just for the moment, okay? It's not their job to educate us at all, but it is our job to show up for them and say, I am here for you, and I want to understand, and I want to help you, and I'm standing beside you. What can I do to support you? And that's what she told me. She said, you reaching out is what she needed. She said, I need my white friends not to be afraid to reach out to me and ask me what they can do to support me specifically. Not coming from an ego place, not coming from a place of, well, what can I do because I feel bad? Not coming from that place, but coming from a true place of service and a true place of, I love you and I want to support you and I want to help you. What can I do to support you? Specifically, what can I do? And I just thought it really kind of hit me in the heart because she's like, she said that, I need my white friends not to be afraid to reach out to me because they're still my friends and I still need them and I still love them. And this needs to be a conversation. This needs to be an open conversation. And so that's what my heart's beating so fast, you guys. This is such a heavy subject. That's what I wanted to bring to you guys today is reach out to your friends or to your community and just say, what can I do to support you? But not from an ego place, not from a place of I feel bad or just not from an ego place, just from a true place of heart, a true place of wanting to genuinely serve and be of service, no matter what that means, and just check in with your friends, you know. And there's other things that I've seen, and really, here's the biggest thing. This is coming through right now. I asked Spirit to be with me and to help me say the right things and to hit the right points that I needed to make. Educate yourself. Because until all of this started, I knew absolutely nothing about, I knew, but I didn't know what it was called, and I didn't know the depth of it, systemic racism. And now I see it, and now I get it. Like, I see it. I knew nothing about how schools were funded. I knew nothing about how neighborhoods were separated and property tax and how much that weighs on education. I knew nothing about that. So there's a really good video that Marianne Williamson put out recently about just everything that's going on. So it's very educational, and I know, like, I fact checked a few of the things in her video, and it's all there. Another thing that I think we need to talk about, because this is a big one for a lot of communities, is, you know, the rioting and the looting, and what does that mean, and how do we feel about that? And my husband is a firefighter, right? So he's a first responder. So there are all kinds of feelings wrapped up in this. But when I sat down and I educated myself and I looked into it, I understood that when someone needs to be heard and they're talking and no one's listening, they have to get louder. And when no one's still listening, then they have to get louder. And eventually there's so much rage and anger that's coming out that they just have to be heard. And sometimes that isn't pretty, or that's not ideal to us. And as you know, I will say this, when I was talking to Magali too, she said that one of her friends that she's been talking to is a cop. And he was saying how the rioting and the looting, you know, on TV and on the media, it's being made to look like, you know, it's coming from these protests, when really it's other groups that are kind of sliding in and kind of infiltrating the protests and making it seem like it's a certain crowd of people that's doing it, when it's really a different crowd of people that's doing it. And she was like, oh, I started doing my research and I found that to be true. And so I read the article from my own hometown, and we just had you know, that those things happen a couple days ago. I read it from my own hometown. Both the police chief and the head of the protest both said that this was a peaceful protest until it was infiltrated by an outside group that was doing the looting and breaking the windows and things like that. So I think that we all get to dig a little deeper, educate ourselves a little bit more, and do our own research, and not just, again, I say it all the time, don't just go with what's given to you on TV. You've got to do your own research, reach out to your friends, talk to your friends, have an open and honest conversation that comes from the heart and from your higher self. And then just, you know, be there to support and just hold space. Because like I said, I'm holding space for a lot of different people and a lot of different groups. And I'm not bypassing anything. I'm not choosing not to look at anything. It's quite the opposite. I'm choosing to look at everything. And last night, you guys, I just broke down and I just cried and cried and cried, because that we even have to still do this anymore. Like, how are we not better than this now? That's just kind of my thought on it. And, you know, the other thing that really brought something to my attention that I had never experienced before and I had never even thought about before. And my friend that I was talking to she's older than me, and she had never thought about it before until a couple days ago, that her entire life, there's always been an elephant in the room, and she never really realized it. And it was her never really feeling, I don't know if it wasn't that she didn't fit in, because she's always had a lot of friends, but when she's with her white friends, she's the only black girl in the room. And so there's like that pressure, and she was trying to ignore it and trying to act like there wasn't an elephant in the room. And then, you know, if she was with her black friends or her black family, that there was, you know, she was being looked at differently because she had so many white friends. And so she just felt like for 40 years, she's always carried around this pressure, denying it and acting like this wasn't something that truly had affected her, when really it had. And so that it crushed my heart. And, you know, we're in tears together on the phone, because I don't even know what that feels like. And so I think right now, no matter what your stance is on this, as humans, we can all look at this and say, we can do better. We can show up. We can check on our friends. We love people as people. Nobody deserves less than anybody else. And we're all worthy of love. We're all worthy of love. And the more that we do work on ourselves, and the more that we dig deeper, and whether it's with this or with our own traumas, with our own families, with whatever it is, the more that we do our own personal work and dig deeper, and we're willing to look at our shadow side, and we're willing to look at the things that don't feel good and the things that are uncomfortable, and actually work through those things, the more that we elevate our consciousness, we elevate our vibration, the closer we become to oneness. And that's what we all are here to remember as souls. We're here to return to oneness, and just remember that we're all on this living, breathing rock, and we're no different from the grass and the trees. We're all living, we're all love, and that's what we have to remember. But we also have very human experiences and very human lessons to remember, to work through. So, you guys, that's kind of, I needed to get that off my heart, and I told Magali that I wanted to support in whatever way I could, and this is one way that I can support. It's just say, reach out to your friends, don't be afraid to have the conversation, educate yourself, and just be a light. Hold the light, hold the space. Okay, whew, you guys, all right. It's deeper than I normally go. You guys know I usually try to keep it extremely positive, but it needed to be said, right? So, okay. Today, I was going to talk to you. Oh, let's see who we got. Hi, Christina. Thank you so much for saying that. That was more difficult than I anticipated, so thank you. Hey, Kelly, I'm glad you're here. I love you. Hey, Haley. Cynthia, hi Elizabeth. Let me see what Elizabeth said. It sure is a time for awakening. Haley, absolutely. I'm going to read what Elizabeth said. I believe we are making the world a better place. There will be some healing. There will be some who come to understand. Hi, Joanna from Scotland. Yeah, so Elizabeth makes a really good point, and so does Haley. We are, and I've talked about this before, we are in the midst of a massive shift, of a massive awakening. And it's been happening for 10 years, but, you know, if you guys were on like a month ago or so, I talked about this, just about how things are literally shifting. And every time I tune in, and I've been getting this for years when I like tap into this subject, but every time that I'm meditating on this now, I'll see like, it's like one earth and then another earth, and they're kind of like overlapping like a Venn diagram. Not that we're actually shifting, we're moving earths or anything like that. It's all about vibration and elevating and a shift in consciousness and a shift in awareness. So that's what's happening now. And I think that, you know, there's so much old underlying energy, unresolved issues, unresolved traumas that have to force their way to the surface, that are being forced for us to look at so that they can be healed, and they can be healed once and for all, and so we can move forward and elevate. And I'm not just talking about this, but there's, you know, a couple years ago, we had Me Too, and then we also have right now COVID. Like, there's so many different things that have been happening that are showing us, like, yes, these are tough things, and they're horrible things, and they hurt, and they're painful. But how do you heal? You heal by looking at the things that you don't want to look at. You drum those things up. You shine a light on them. That is how you heal. You bring light to the darkness, and that is what has to happen for us to continue to elevate and to continue to shift. So you can go back and read like Dolores Cannon's books from years and years and years ago. You can read, where's my mind right now? There is Sylvia Brown mentioned a few things. There is, I have the books on my shelf and I just can't think. So there's like 3 or 4 books. There's a bunch of Edgar Cayce writings and things like that go back and they reference these times, these current times. And so if you look at, you know, history, of course, history always has a way of repeating itself, and things always keep coming back up, and there's always going to be, you know, epidemics, and there's always going to be all these things. But these things are happening so quickly and so rapidly and in such a sequence, right? That it's undeniable that we are shifting. It's undeniable that things are changing right now. And it's our job to, 1, hang on, because it's going to be a bit of a rocky ride, but 2, embrace it and flow with it. Because the more that you try to fight against a wave, the harder it's going to be for you to get back to shore. But if you just flow and you allow it to take you where you're supposed to go, you're going to get there easily, and you're going to get there with a lot less effort. But that doesn't mean that you don't have to do the work. The work has to be done. And that's actually, I did a energy reading in the beginning of January, so like the end of December, beginning of January of this year, for the year. I always do this, and I posted it this year. And it talked about, you know, there's going to be all of these shakeups. There's going to be all of these massive things that are happening. And if you are not ready to do the work, you're going to be pushed into it. Like heels dragging in the ground, you're going to be pushed into it. If you're willing to do the work, you're going to elevate. You're going to go to the next level. You're going to go to the new earth so much easier, and it's going to feel so much better for you. So we definitely get to look. Yeah, Haley, you can definitely, you can feel it. You can feel it from all these different angles. Like no matter where you look, if you look over the past 10 years, but specifically, I would say even the past 2-3 years, there's so much there that's like, holy shit, this is happening, and it's happening quick. But also, you know, I've talked about it before on a more positive note with your manifesting. Manifesting right now is happening so quickly. Like it happened for me in 24 hours the other week, and it's still happening. I set a goal for myself and I way surpassed that goal. And this has now happened 3 months in a row. So it's a massive time for awakening on many different levels. So use this energy to your advantage. Use this energy to elevate. Use this energy to uplift yourself, uplift others, be a light for others, educate yourself on all different things, on all things that you know, that things that you want to know about or things that you need to know about. So just educate yourself. Use this energy to manifest the life that you want, because we're meant to have that too. We're meant to have everything that we want, as long as it's for our highest good and of highest service for the world. And you being happy and you being in joy and you feeling good is of the highest service for the world. So that's what I have to say. Yes, it's totally accelerating. And yeah, right now is the time, Haley, to dive into mediumship, because it's just, again, it's like the veil is just so thin. It's almost like we're living in two different worlds, which is really kind of a cool feeling when you tap into it. And I think unless if you've never done this work and you're like, what the hell is she talking about? If you sit down and you meditate, you will feel you drop in so much easier. Spirits around you, when you try to do automatic writing, it's happening more naturally. All of these things are signs for us that we're kind of in between these two worlds right now, and it's really, really beautiful thing. Okay, so yes, Elizabeth, you are on fire today, girl. I believe everything that you're saying. So she said, I agree, like a phoenix, there will be destruction or deterioration before rebirth. I believe that too, and I'm not ready to share it publicly yet, but I did write down a few notes from my meditation, and I took a picture on my phone so that I could timestamp it. And I will be sharing some things as they happen, or as I am ready, because I do feel like there are going to be some more things. I'm going to try to meditate without guided meditation. So you can definitely do that. If you want to, so let's jump into that. Let's jump into the question and answer, guys. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and post them below. I am ready and willing to answer your questions today. So to start to meditate without a guided meditation, I recommend that you guide yourself. So giving yourself something to visualize will really help you to drop in and kind of get out of your own way. Always connect with the breath first. So I always say this: breathe in for the count of 4, hold for 4, release for 4. Do that 4 times. So that's going to help you to get your body relaxed. Then I want you to visualize dropping an anchor or roots, or however it looks to you, dropping that into the earth, visualizing the core of the earth, your energy wrapping with the core of the earth energy, bringing that energy back up into your body, and then calling down the light. And so as you do this, you should start visualizing you're going to be connecting with the light, you're going to be protecting your energy, clearing your energy, and then as you do, what I've been doing lately, and this is something that Spirit just gave to me during a meditation, is I've been kind of seeing myself open up like a clamshell. Like my body, my spirit literally just opening up. Yes, Kelly, I totally agree that God is doing an intervention. I think God and the earth are working together, and they're like, you guys need to get it together. We're doing it for you. But I've been seeing in meditation, my energy just opening up like a clamshell, and then I will feel so much more. And I think it's just a symbol of, one, expansion, so self-expansion, spiritual expansion, your aura, your energy expanding, however you want to look at it, but then also being receptive. receptive to spirit, receptive to the things that you want to manifest, receptive to the energy that you are receiving. So I hope this helps and supports you guys for, you know, trying to do a meditation without a guided meditation. I still use, and I've been meditating a long time, I still use music or binaural beats, or I will sit outside, because if it's too quiet for me, I just kind of start hearing, or I start, you know, thinking about all the things that I have to do or my to-do list. So the beach is a good place. Listening to the birds is a good place. Will also help you to expand your clairaudience. So I talked about this before in a workshop on here, where if you want to expand your clairaudience, you can take a few deep breaths, get into that meditative state, and then start to listen to the sounds that are around you. So you start to hear the birds, break the birds apart. How many different bird calls do you hear? And you don't have to be a bird expert for this. It's just about fine-tuning your hearing. You're hearing a lawnmower. Okay, well, where is that lawnmower? Is it 4 houses over? You're hearing an air conditioning. Are you hearing 3 or 4 of them? So just kind of start to fine-tune those sounds and separate those sounds, because it's all about awareness, right? It's all about what's around us all the time, but that we've become numb to and we don't pay attention to. And so it's the same thing with spirit. As you start to fine tune these things, you will start to hear and receive spirit more, because now you've brought about that awareness. Okay, how do I... Elizabeth says, I get visions and hear voices at times. How do I get that to happen more? So it sounds like, Elizabeth, you are clairvoyant and clairaudient. So clairvoyance is going to be visions. It's also going to be seeing colors in meditation, seeing past the perception of what someone wants you to see. So if someone's like putting on a happy face, but you can actually see that they're sad, you can see that there's something going on with them, that's also clairvoyance. And then hearing voices, hearing sounds, hearing pops, buzzes, ringing in the ear that nobody else hears, if it's not a medical condition. These are all signs of clairaudience as well. So what I just talked about, you know, going outside and fine-tuning your hearing, that's a way that you can work with your clairaudience. Your clairvoyance is... the best way to work with that is visualizing. Visualize the numbers 1 through 10 and visualize them here and then sending them away. You can visualize colors, you can visualize words, you can do guided meditations and use those visualizations. Any type of visualization exercise is going to help you with your clairvoyance, but also remember setting the intention. You've got to set the intention. You've got to raise your vibration to connect with spirit, and spirit's got to kind of lower theirs to connect with you. So what I always tell people, because there's so much that goes into it, like you can research until the end of the internet, which is what I did, and it led me down a spiritual rabbit hole and into a spiritual burnout. So you can actually, I have a course that's built completely around this. It takes the 4 clairs, clairvoyance, clairsentience, claircognizance, and did I say clairvoyance? Clairaudience. And it breaks them into groups, how to work with each one, how to fine tune each one, how to protect yourself as an empath, how to work past fear and doubt, how to set your boundaries, how to work with your spirit team, because all of these things go hand in hand. And that's why I don't just teach people, hey, here's how you connect with spirit, because I really believe that you need the foundation and the safe, like, you need to know how to protect your energy before you just start working with spirit, because then you open yourself up not only to spirit, but then you open yourself up to people around you and their bad moods and their bad intentions, and you don't want to take all of that on because it becomes incredibly overwhelming. So I do teach people kind of like step by step how to expand on these gifts, and you will get there to your mediumship completely, and you'll be able to get the specifics because you have the foundation and because you know, like, oh, this is my clairvoyance talking to me, this is my clairaudience talking to me. I can't get something with my clairvoyance right now. Let me try using my clairsentience and use these two to kind of put the puzzle pieces together. So if you want to check that out, it's the Intuitive Development and Progression course. I recommend it all the time. I recommend everyone start with that. Like, usually if someone's going to do coaching with me, it's not a prerequisite, but I definitely recommend it because I reference it so often. Okay, so let me see, what else do we got? Oh, and the other thing I wanted to say to you, and which is where I started going with that, Elizabeth, was that to start working with any of your intuitive gifts, you need to flex that specific muscle. You need to be working out that specific muscle. And that's what a lot of people don't know. And you guys hear, if you've been on here before, you've heard me say it before, but you don't go to the gym and do bicep curls to get a bigger butt, right? It just doesn't work. Those muscles aren't working together. You're working out the wrong muscle. So it's the same thing. A lot of people try to focus on clairvoyance, or they try to focus on like just overall overarching psychic abilities. And when you're not focused on the right thing and doing the right exercises, you get frustrated because there's no progress that's happening. So you want to make sure that you're focused on the right thing, doing the right exercises, and then the others will naturally follow suit. Let's see. Hey, Holly, I'm so happy you're here. I'm opening up, but how do you then also combat dark destructive energies from coming in? I feel like I'm being attacked, surrounded, and visited by them almost every night for the past week or so while in the twilight phase of sleep. Okay. So Holly brings up a really good question, and I kind of just touched on that as well. But I'll go a little bit deeper. You're welcome, Elizabeth. I'll go a little bit deeper into that. So Holly says, how do you open up but also prevent yourself from engaging with or feeling or having dark energies come to you? She says she feels like she's being attacked and surrounded while she is trying to fall asleep at night. Okay, so first thing, the most common time that people feel spirit, especially in the beginning or as children, so that was me, is when they're trying to fall asleep, or at night, like when they lay down. Even if you're not asleep, just with the intention of like, okay, I'm gonna relax now, and finally relax. And then you start, for me, I started seeing visions, or like you're saying, you might feel these energies or people watching you, and it just becomes intense and overwhelming. For me, I would have nightmares, and my nightmares got so bad that I would feel like someone was sitting on top of me, and like I was just kind of had like sleep paralysis. And I had learned how to wake myself up and out of my dreams, I don't know, like at a really young age, because I just, in my dream, I learned, sorry guys, I learned how to I trained myself to learn when I was sleeping and when I was awake, so that I could wake myself up and out of my dreams. I don't know how I did it, I just naturally did, because my dreams got so bad. Because here's the thing, and this is what you all need to know, everyone on here needs to know this. When you are intuitive, when you have the intention to work with spirit, when you, before you even have the intention, but you are highly intuitive, you are like a lighthouse on a very dark shore, and there are no gates around to keep out the enemy, or let's not even say the enemy, because these things that you're feeling, they're not necessarily darkness, they are more so the absence of light. They need, which is darkness, but you know what I'm saying. They want your light. They can feel you have the light. They can't actually hurt you. They can drain your energy. They don't feel good. It doesn't give you a good feeling to have them around. They don't need to be around, but they're really not going to hurt you. And I can say that because I dealt with them until I was in my early 20s. That said, you don't want them around. So you're like this lighthouse on a very, very, very dark shore. So anybody who needs light is attracted to your light. So another way to look at it is like bugs to a lantern in the summertime. Anything that can see that light is headed straight towards that light. So you're unprotected, you're ungrounded, you don't know that you're this intuitive, you don't know that you have these gifts, and so all of these bugs or all of these ships are coming towards your light. What you have to do is set up gates and boundaries of who is allowed to come visit you, who is not allowed to come visit you, what types of energies you're willing to accept, what types of energies you're not willing to accept. And so that begins during the day. That begins with smudging your home, setting boundaries around your home, specifically for the bedrooms of, for me personally, I only allow one guide, one angel in my room at a time. They are not to wake me up unless it's some kind of emergency, which has happened before. I ask for their protection while I sleep. I, during the day, set boundaries of I am only willing to work with, this is why it's so important, and this is why I'm not trying to sell to you guys, I'm trying to help you guys, because This is why I'm always like, take the intuitive development course, because in there I tell you all about boundaries. You've got to have boundaries before you start doing this work, because the more that you open up, the more that can see your light, because now your light's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So you want to, before you start like, oh yeah, I want to open up to spirit. And I'm telling you guys this because I've done it, and I stopped all work for 2 months because I scared myself so bad, is you want to get grounded. You want to clear your energy. You want to protect your energy. You want to connect with the light, and you want to say, I am only willing to connect with those who are here for my best and highest good. I am only willing to connect with those on my spirit team. I am only willing to connect with those who have my best and highest good at heart. And at this point in my development, I'm only allowing my spirit team and my angels around me. So you want to say those things. So this is how, and it's really that simple, you guys. And Holly, it's really that simple, is you just have to set your boundaries, set your intentions, just like you would with a guy or with a friend. Like, I am not willing to accept this behavior. I'm not willing to accept this energy. You have to get out of my house. You're allowed in my house. You're cool. You're not. Like, that's what you have to do with spirit. And you have to say, this is what I'm willing to accept, and this is what I'm not. And from there, the next phase is learning to tap into your intuition, learning to work past the fear, work past the doubt, learning about discernment. So discerning, okay, I want to call on my spirit guides, but now I'm afraid, because as I fall asleep, spirit loves to connect with you when you're asleep, because all of your guards are down. And this is said for your spirit team and those who are not. Your guard is down. You have nothing blocking you. You're not preoccupied with anything else. So now it's easy for them to connect with you. So you've got to make it to like, okay, well now, great. Now I've scared myself. Now I want to do the work, but I'm too afraid to do the work. So if you're afraid and there's doubt and there's fear, that's going to create a block. It's not going to make it easy for you to receive. So now you've got to do the work to work past the fear and to work past the doubt. And you've got to learn discernment. So that means calling in your spirit guides, playing with their energy, feeling what their energy feels like, having them step out, having another member of your team step in, and learning to discern from what energy feels good to you, what energy doesn't feel good, what energy is supportive of you, and what energy is not. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay, so Elizabeth says, you see auras and the visions come so fast you don't have time to process. That is completely normal, especially in the beginning, and especially if, like Holly, it's happening as you're falling asleep. We're not always meant to process those visions. We're not always meant to get a message from that. And it might still be on my page. I think it was like 2 weeks ago, maybe, we talked about this. There's like a whole lesson on this for clairvoyance, but you aren't always meant to decode those messages right away, okay? Oftentimes it's just a sign that Spirit's saying, hey, your third eye's open. We're here. We're ready to connect with you. We love you. You can see us. Now let's do the work, because as you start to do the work, you can start to organize those messages. And that's what I teach in my mediumship diving deeper course, is like, okay, you've got, and actually, my mom and Kelly's on here. I don't know if she's still on here, but I used to do group sessions at her house, and this is where I learned this. I learned this in the session, like the live session, because I'm trying to give a reading, and there's like 4 or 5 different, spirits that I'm hearing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on? So then you have to learn how to separate the messages and who's talking when and who they're talking to and what their message is. So you've got to learn how to, one, stop them, organize them, and then get the specific message from each one. But first is just realizing that when you're being gifted these visions, it's often just a sign of, hey, you can do this work. We're ready for you when you're ready for us. Okay. So I'm scrolling down a little bit more. Lately, out of nowhere, I've had 2 lucid dreams where I told myself you're dreaming, and the one... Why do you think this is happening all of a sudden? So, Haley, okay, so I'm reading Haley's message, and she says, lately out of nowhere, she's had 2 lucid dreams, one where I told myself you're dreaming, and the one I tried to meet my guides, but can't remember after that. I haven't had a lucid dream since I was a kid, and only one time that I can remember. Why do you think this is happening all of a sudden? I think it's a couple of things. I think that it's, one, the energy of the times. Like we talked about in the beginning, we're going through this massive shift, and so we're meant to be doing this work. We're meant to be doing the self work. We're meant to be just remembering who we are. I'm not Ashley. I'm a soul. I am a soul that is in the body of an Ashley. I am a soul that is in the body of an Ashley, and I'm here talking to you guys because that is my mission. That is my purpose. I have done the work to journey back to remember, oh, hey, I'm a soul. I'm a spirit. I'm not just this like meat suit driving around, which is something that I had never even thought of that concept before. Like before, if you would have said that to me, I'd have been like, what? I am Ashley. What do you mean? Like, of course I'm Ashley. But now I know, like, no, I'm a soul. I am a spirit having a human experience. And so that's part of why it's happening now, because we're meant to be doing this work right now. I love that you guys are laughing at that. I laugh at myself all the time. You got to, right? So part of it is we're meant to be doing the work at this time. We are meant to be opening up. We're meant to be returning to a more spiritual existence as a whole. I really think, you guys, that in the next 10 years, we will be communicating on more of a soul level than using our words, because that's where we're headed. We're headed back to a return of the heart. We're headed back to more spiritual existence. And so I just think that is, we've got all this healing to do, and all this healing is coming up, and we're meant to be facing it. We're meant to be facing the uncomfortable. Like we've already talked about that. We don't need to go back down that. But, this is the time. This is the time to do the self-work. This is the time to do the intuitive work. So I think that's part of the reason. If you have shown more interest and you've been reading more and you've been meditating more and setting the intention more, that's another reason why you're probably having these lucid dreams all of a sudden, because now, again, it's time. Your soul is trying to do the work. So let's talk about lucid dreaming for a second. What is lucid dreaming? So lucid dreaming often is when you're gonna leave your body. Your spirit's gonna go somewhere else, and to us it feels like a dream. But what it really is our soul is leaving our body to go, or we're not passing, you guys, we're not dead, but it means our spirit is leaving our body to go do some soul work, some growing work, to speak with the council, to learn some lessons, to get literally a higher perspective, to see things from above. And so this is why we often have lucid dreaming. So I wonder how many people in here that have been doing this work will have periods where they're sleeping, and you know that you're sleeping. You know you're sleeping. You may remember a lucid dream or two, or you may remember just dreaming. You don't remember what it was, but you know that you're sleeping. Every day you're waking up exhausted, and it usually lasts about 2.5 weeks. What's happening during that time is your soul is growing. Your soul is traveling, it's learning, it's getting new experiences, and you may not consciously remember having those, you can call them upgrades, you can call them educational sessions, whatever you want to call them, with your spirit team and with your council, but you're bringing back those lessons with you. So that is part of what lucid dreaming is, and this happens to me a couple of times a year. And I'm really good at recognizing it at this point. And again, it's one of those things I've talked about. Like, I don't even try to fight the wave anymore. At this point, I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm just going to go to bed a little earlier, and I'm going to wake up and I'm going to do my regular thing. And, I'm going to meditate. I'm going to meditate as much as I can during that time to see if I can absorb and bring any of those lessons back with me. So that is why Elizabeth says, thank you for doing this. It's the first forum for me to connect with others about intuition, etc. If there's any other forums or Rex, please let me know. Elizabeth, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. So that's why I started doing my blog in the first place, because I wanted to put my story out there, and I was hoping that my story could help one other person. I never knew that it was going to grow into this big, beautiful thing where I get to help and I get to teach and I get to work with people from all over the world. It's so amazing. And that's why I really, some people think, oh, this person can manifest so much, I can't do it. You can do it. Everybody can do it. If I could leave a corporate job to become a professional medium, you can do anything that you want. Anybody can. And it's just, I don't know, it's just amazing to me. So hearing you say that is just, it's a lot of validation, and I really appreciate you. If you're not in my Facebook group already, you can join that group too. There's 350 people in there, I think. So you can join that. And then, of course, you can always work with me directly, and my blog has a lot of good resources as well. so hi Joanna. So I'm gonna read Joanna's question now. Sometimes when I'm meditating, I feel like my eardrums are vibrating. It's a strange feeling, also prickles on my scalp like there is a fly on my head, but just swat away, there's nothing there. Absolutely, this is spirit. I'm not laughing at you, I'm giggling because I know the feeling and I still do it all the time, especially if I'm sitting outside. So that vibrating in your ear, that is part of clairaudience that I've referenced before. So clairaudience is going to be buzzing in the ears, thumping in the ears, hearing music that other people don't hear, hearing ringing in the ears. That is part of that's part of the opening up experience. And then those tingles on your head, that is 100% usually going to be either your spirit guide or an angel. Okay, so this is just, it's the sign for you, or sorry, I'm being told right now for you, so it is spirit. Also know that this could be your crown chakra opening, which is also a really good thing, and your guides are assisting you with that. So when you hear that sound in your ears, just know that you are raising to a higher vibration. You're feeling a higher vibration. Your body is literally acclimating to a higher vibration. So the work that you're doing is working. Let's all give Joanna a round of applause. And then the next thing is, if you're calling in your spirit guides, you're feeling that tingling on your head. So, okay, here's what they're telling me for you right now. I guess I'm getting messages today. I didn't know I was going to. So here's what they're telling me for you right now. If you want to know whether it is a spirit guide or your crown chakra opening up. So in other words, if you want to know if you're just raising your vibration or your spirit guides are actually connecting with you, when you feel that, ask that if it's a guide or someone on your spirit team, they give you a sensation somewhere else. I usually feel them really good on my arm, so you can say your arm or you can say your cheek, whatever. They're showing me like this part of your arm, like your forearm and your cheek. So you can say, okay, if this is a spirit guide, then I want to feel you on my arm or I want to feel you on my cheek. If this is my crown chakra, give me a little bit more, okay? Either way, you're connecting with spirit. Either way, your vibration is raising. Either way, I'm like, now my head is tingling. I'm feeling it like all back here. Either way, the work that you're doing is working. Okay, so Jasmine. So I'm starting this new women's retreat business, the same connection to the higher self. Certain things I need to grow. Okay, so Jasmine, I'm just gonna reread your question out loud. So I'm starting this new women's retreat business, that same connection to the higher self mission I have. And when I or a team member talks about certain things we need to incorporate, I get goosebumps. Is that confirmation? I feel like it is, but from where? Yes, girl. Yes, that is confirmation. What do you mean? Yes, anytime I get goosebumps, I'm like, ooh, okay. I'm like, well, here we go. Like, that's something I need to pay attention to. That's something I need to know. Abso-freaking-lutely. If you're getting goosebumps, it's almost like you'll hear people say, ooh, that's a full body yes for me or a full body no for me. That means your body is responding to something. So if somebody invites you to do something and you're like, yes, like that's full body yes. If somebody's inviting you to do something and you're literally having to force yourself to do something, that's going to be a full body no. So that's the physical aspect of it. But the goosebumps, especially if you're both getting the goosebumps at the same time, absolutely that is spirit. Absolutely that is validation for you. You're clearly clairsentient as well. So I would say that you start working on that a little bit more. Okay. Aw, thanks, Haley. You guys are the best. You guys are making my whole day. Good, Joanna. I'm glad that helps you. Okay. Haley, so yes, your guides can, oh my gosh, ever since we started talking about that, now my head I feel all the tingles, which is a good thing. So your guides can move on, and we did a spirit guide talk a couple weeks ago. Your guides can move on, but you can also invite them in. And if you feel like you have guides around and they're not connecting with you in a way that's tangible enough for you, you can still ask for those tingles and see if they'll give them to you. What do you call it when your belly is your intuitive organ? I almost said orgasm. Organ. What do you call it when your belly is your intuitive organ? Experienced big time this week when the situation was changed, the belly felt better. Okay, so that could be two things. Mostly it's going to be your clairsentience though. So clairsentience, if you're feeling it in your stomach and your stomach is acting as your stomach is acting as your guide, right? That's going to be your clairsentience. So that is clear feeling. It's like when you walk up to someone and you can feel their character. You can feel if they're lying to you. Your stomach acts as your second brain and it's not going to lie to you. It's really not. So always listen to that, okay? Now, if it's a gut feeling, because there's a difference between your stomach responding and having a gut feeling like you know something, you absolutely know something. That's gonna be claircognizance. Claircognizance is a clear knowing. Those two kind of cross paths very often, but for you, for you, Kelly, this is going to be clairsentience, clear feeling. And so actually, if you wanted to call in Maurice and say, hey, Maurice, can I feel you probably on your right side or on your head like somebody else talked about, you could probably get that feeling as well. So understand, like she said, when you're feeling something and then the situation gets better and then that feeling goes away, that's your intuition. Listen to that. Follow that. Allow it to guide you, okay? It's there to help you. So this is the thing, you guys, and she brings up a really good point. So many people think like, well, if I'm going to I don't want to do the intuitive work because I don't want to be a medium, or I don't want to do the intuitive work because I have no intention of working with this all the time. These are just things that happen to me. Yeah, these are things that happen to all of us all the time, and this is exactly how our intuition shows up throughout each and every day, throughout our life, is we're being guided. Our spirit team, our body, our chakras, they are showing us and giving us messages all the time. They're pulling us in the right direction. They're pulling us away from the wrong direction all of the time, as long as we have this self-awareness and we're paying attention, okay? So just like somebody else said, those goosebumps, if I get those goosebumps, is that validation? It's validation. If your stomach is talking to you, that's validation. If you're getting a headache when you're around someone, or you're getting a headache when you're thinking about when you're questioning something that you should or shouldn't do, take that as a physical sign, a physical symptom of no, like you're getting pain. This isn't a good situation. This isn't good for you. So that kind of brings me to the chakras too. So right there, Kelly, at the stomach is the solar plexus. And the solar plexus is a very interesting chakra because it's like our filter. Everything that we feel, everything that we say, everything that we think, it goes through this chakra. So it's one that gets blocked very often, and we need to do a lot of like work to maintain it. And that can be, it's yellow, so wearing yellow, eating yellow foods, sitting in the sun, finding joy, just doing an intentional energy sweep, that will help to clear it. But just pay attention too, since you are receiving so much in that area, pay attention that you are listening to it and unblocking it from time to time. Okay, so I feel the work that you're doing is helping people, and I know that impact will continue and grow. Thank you, Andre. That means a lot. I don't know if you were here in the beginning, but that really means a lot. And I see you, friend. I see everything that you're doing. I'm still following you on Instagram. You guys, Andre has been with me since he was like one of the very first people to start reading my blog. And so he is very near and dear to my heart. So yeah, I love Andre. Let me see. Silly question, but Andre, I need to go back to that because just received. I want to say that's very received, and I really appreciate it. And you guys all are supporting me so much that it's very humbling. I never saw this for myself, so I just really appreciate all of you. Silly question, but I've always loved ghost stories and such, and that's what drew me to mediumship. But my question is, do you think that during an EVP session you could catch a guide talking? I know it's not usually like that, but just wondered. So Haley, so many of us that are intuitive, we are drawn to the paranormal. We're drawn to, especially when we're younger, like scary movies, ghost stories, you know, those ghost hunting shows, all of that. We're usually drawn to that because our spirit's like, hey, this is a part of what I can do. I know that I can do this. And that's kind of what's most readily available to us, if that makes sense. So it makes sense. That's one of the big cues, and I have it in one of my blogs. That's one of the big cues that you are very intuitive, is that if you're extremely interested in that stuff and you don't know why. That was me. I was like, what is wrong with me? Why do I always want to watch these horror movies? And why do I always want to learn about like all this paranormal stuff? That scared me. It scared the crap out of me. I'm not going to lie to you. I do not know the answer to that. I would say probably no. I would say no because, and this is why I'm going to say no. Okay, this is coming through right now. The answer is going to be no, generally, because a ghost is an earthbound spirit. Their vibration is heavier. They're here. Okay, they're here. Their energy, and it's not always like a ghost is bad, but when I say their energy is low or it's heavier, it's like ours. They're more dense like we are. Does that make sense? And so your spirit guide is much higher in vibration. Your spirit guide is it's just free flowing. It's so high and it's so beautiful. And so when they come in, you can feel them. You can feel that energy shift, and you can hear them, and you can get their impressions. They don't normally have that voice box, that heavy voice box that a landlocked spirit might. Does that help? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Okay, Keisha. Hey, girl. I'm interested in your spiritual coaching to help direct me in what spiritual direction I should pursue or not. Maybe spirit just wants my attention. So, okay, I would love to do spiritual coaching with you. Absolutely. You helped me last week by providing a link, so I think you know where everything is. I would love to do coaching with you. That said, okay, so where was I going? So that said, a couple of weeks ago, I had a dream that I should like make this quiz. And I was like, I wrote it down in my notebook, and because that's just what I do, but it was so clear and it was so vivid. But I was like, I don't know what kind of quiz I'm supposed to make. I don't even know how I would do this. Like, I have one quiz on my site, but that didn't even occur to me. So the quiz was, because I get questions like this all the time, this is what I'm going through, this is what I need. What do you have that can help me, or how can you help me? So actually today, I just finished it up. I've been working on it for 3 days on my tiny little laptop screen because my monitor is not working right now. Which is why if I keep squinting more than normal, that's why. But I made a quiz that is, Ashton, if you could link that, please, if you're on. If not, I'll provide the link to you guys in a little bit. It's Pick Your Path. So it's a series, I think there's 6 questions, but one, it's just helping you to get clear on where you're at right now, where you're at in your vibration, where you want to go. There's a series of questions that are going to help you, and it's real content. So it's content like I give you here. It's content like I give you in the blogs. It's real content. It's a series of questions. It's free, you guys. So you can go in there and just answer these questions, and then you're going to get a whole write-up on what your path should be, with whether you want to work with me or whether you want to do this on your own, but what your path should be, what your next step should be, what areas you should be looking into, and a laid out plan for you. So, Keisha, I hope that helps you. So I hope that helps you. So I would absolutely love to do coaching with you. If you're still kind of on the fence and you're like, well, I don't know what direction I want to go in, go take that quiz. It's super fun. It's super short. And if anything, you're going to get a little bit of a clear direction on where you should be going, just for yourself. So let's see. Recently, I received a message from Spirit and just felt it needed to be said, and it was very positive from my friend that her father thanked her. He was very proud of her. That's good. That's good. So you can always share those messages. Here's what I teach people, because a lot of people that I work with, they're not ready to come out of the psychic closet yet. It took me years to come out of the psychic closet. So If you are comfortable sharing those messages, please share those messages. Just be mindful of if people are receptive, if they want to receive, so that one, you're not crossing any energetic boundaries, and then two, you're not going to get your own feelings hurt because they're going to be like very dismissive and, you know, and this is sacred work to us. It's very sacred work to me. So think about that. But then, you know, there's always a way to organically give messages. Like I've done it before, especially in the beginning. My boundaries were a little weaker, so I would go, I always remember it at 7-Eleven. I kept getting this message for the girl behind the counter, like over and over and over and over again. And I gave her that message organically, and I was like, how are you today? You know, I made like very casual conversation. She's like, good. I'm like, well, you know, I can see you look like a little sad, and you know, I bet if there were someone here with you that you love, they would tell you. And then I gave her the message, and the look on her face was like, oh my God, like she was like, that's exactly what I needed to hear. So you can give messages organically by starting an actual conversation with someone and then just kind of gently delivering a message to them from a broader perspective as well, if you start getting them more and more often. And that brings up a good point too. You guys, I know that we are in the middle of this COVID thing. And I know that society is not what we are used to. People are not making eye contact. People are not smiling at you. I had someone literally run to the other side of the aisle the other day away from me in the grocery store. It was very uncomfortable. But that's just how things are right now. And I hope that we can all return back to like what is a normal society, but back to hugging each other and shaking hands. And like when I see my friend outside of the Chinese place and I give her a hug, people aren't staring at us. Like I hope that we can return to that. But the reason that I'm saying this, which is completely off topic, is just remember to be kind. Remember to, even though people can't see your smile, still smile at them, still make eye contact, still say, how are you doing today? We can't drop our humanness in all of this, and we can't drop our love in all of this. We need to show up for each other even more and support each other even more. So that was just a little side note that I felt I needed to share. So like, it's okay to still start conversations with people. They might need it. Yep, just took the quiz. Okay. Sounds good, Keisha. I hope you liked it. I'm still in the closet. I simply said, I'm sure he is proud of you. Yeah. So Elizabeth, that is perfect. That's being organic. That's being truthful. It's being authentic. That's exactly what, she probably needed. And that's why it's so important to bring our positive, authentic selves. Yeah. You guys, you know, we just need to be more authentic than ever. And I know it probably sounds so silly to you guys, but that's why I just didn't do my hair today. I'm like, I'm going to show up authentic. I'm going to be raw. I did put makeup on, but I'm like, I'm just going to be raw. I almost did this call from the beach, but I was afraid I wouldn't get to be as authentic because I wouldn't get to speak as loud. You know, I miss hugging people. And I miss like smiling at people. Like I've been telling everybody, because our masks are mandated now. And I like will tell everybody, I'm like, hi, I smiled at you. You can't see it. And like some people think it's weird, and some people are like, oh yeah, me too. Like if you smile big enough, you can see it with your eyes. So, you know, I think more now than ever, it's important to be authentic. It's important to reach out to our friends and have those tough conversations that are coming from the heart and not the ego. Ask how we can support, call the people we love, and just live your life, you guys. Live your life. Don't get so focused on this is what I cannot do that you don't do anything. Does that make sense? Like, still go out. Still talk to your neighbors. I've been talking to my neighbors more than I ever have. Like I actually have neighborhood friends now, and I miss my friends a lot, and I know the kids are starting to get restless and we're all starting to worry about school, but there's so many big things going on in the world right now. It's just, let's just take this time to educate ourselves. Like I said in the beginning, I am really committed to educating myself on what's going on in our world right now and asking how I can support my friends and family. So You need to take some time to re-energize. You need some self-care. Actually, Elizabeth, it's funny you say that. So I don't know if you guys were on last week, but I had mentioned I had kind of had like a spiritual burnout. And then I looked ahead in my calendar, and I usually schedule a creative week once, like two to three times a year. And I had actually scheduled this week months ago for my creative week. And it's funny because I was like, okay, well, this is my creative week. And I like sat in front of my computer and nothing was coming out. And I'm like, all right, well, maybe I'm meant to be doing other things. So I have not been hard on myself this week, where sometimes I might try to push myself like, Ashley, you got to get this done, because I am extremely, I'm extremely self-disciplined. Like, I'll just go ahead and say it. I am. I don't know that I could work from home if not, but this week I've just kind of given myself a pass, and I'm like, when it's there, it's there. When it's not, it's not. So it was there the last 2 days when I wanted to work on this quiz, and it was there so much that I was sitting in front of this little tiny screen, like squinting my eyes, hunched over my computer, because it was there and it needed to get out of me. And that's something that you guys need to know too. If there's something on your heart, whether it's something creative, where it's something you want to write, or it's something you want to say to somebody, or you're in pain, whatever it is, if there's something on your heart, let it out, get it out, especially if it's something creative where you're feeling inspired. Don't think about it's not the right time, or I don't have the right platform in place, or how can I share this? Nobody's going to see it, or what if they do see it? Don't worry about that. Just get whatever it is off your heart and onto some paper, or onto a video, or onto wherever it needs to go. And then it's there, and then you have it when the time is right for you to post it or share it or grow it, or whatever the case may be. And then if it's like, yesterday, it had to be a push from spirit, because I had meditated, I had done everything I was supposed to do, but there was so much sitting on my heart that I text my friend Magdalene, and I'm like, I want to help, I want to understand, help me understand, I don't understand. And then we have the conversation. And so I'm not going to say like, oh, I feel so much better after that. I don't, because now I'm like, well, I have a lot to learn, so let's get to learning. So you know what, guys, just allow yourself to be guided. Allow your heart to pull you sometimes. Like, if not, what are we in this time for? If we're not taking the time to learn, if we're not taking the time to allow ourselves to be intuitively led and our heart to lead us, then we're just stuck in our houses. So utilize this time. And I'm here for you. If anybody needs support, or wants to talk, or is afraid to say something out loud, you've got my email address, you've got my website, reach out to me. I'll help you however I can. Man, you know what, you guys, I had a whole lesson that I was going to talk about today, but I did not get to it. But that is okay. I was just going to talk real quick about self-evolution and what that means. And I'll go into it maybe next week. But really what self-evolution means, and since we're talking about this, is simultaneously, and this is something that I came up with a couple years ago, and I've been promoting it. Like, I've been saying it on my site, like, it's time for self-evolution, or I say it in my emails. I'm like, here's your self-evolution. What does it actually mean? Like, what does it mean? It's a cool hook, but what does it mean? It means to me allowing yourself, your ego, who you are as a human, and your spirit simultaneously grow up to the next level. And sometimes that next level is just looking at where you are, and looking at where you've been and committing to your next level you. And just by looking at that, being willing to witness that, being willing to do that work and see like, hey, this is not my ideal space. Those are not my ideal stories. That is your next level, because now you recognize it, and now you see it, and now you can get to where you want to go. Even if you're not clear on where you want to go, you can see that you're not where you want to be. So you get to elevate, you get to evolve, you get to have some self-evolution. So again, I have a whole lesson on this, but we'll talk about it next week. I love you all. I appreciate you all. Thank you for standing by me. And let's see who we can support this week, who we can support that are our friends, our communities. Reach out and ask how you can be of service, okay? I love you all. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon.